Alright, so I'm back and I haven't recorded a new video in a couple weeks now, but I'm getting started and I'm moving on so I can get everything done that I need to get done. So now, let me get right into it. I am going to be starting point 3, which in general is the healthcare industry. But again, these first subjects, they're more geared towards my personal experiences and things involving myself. So I'm just going to get started because I don't like to waste time. Okay, so now I'm going to be doing point 3, topic 1, which is going to be like an introduction to just the healthcare industry in general, as well as, again, more geared towards my own personal things at this point, because again, I have devoted time to the healthcare industry in general. So yeah, I'm also going to be, it's a general topic. It's very complex and it's very detailed. So the healthcare industry really needs its own time slot. But again, I'm just going to say a little bit about it generally. But again, it's more so at this point going to be geared towards my own personal experiences. So I'm going to get started. So, okay, so point 3, topic 1. The introduction, a small introduction. Honestly, in general, it's very interesting because, you know, the healthcare industry, that was something that I personally wanted to get into a while ago. Really, from the time I was like 17, I became interested in more specifically becoming a nurse within the healthcare industry. And that was mostly because I was in the group home for truancy as a teenager, and I ended up having my daughter at the age of 16. So at the age of 17, like I previously mentioned, that I had moved to Erie, and I was in a group home for pregnant and teenage mothers. And during that time there, I had met a nurse there that worked at the facility. And, you know, she was cool. We gained like a close relationship. Not close, but just like I was more close to her than I was to a lot of the other staff. So, you know, I became kind of interested in the nursing field through time spent with her, and I had asked her a few questions about how she had became a nurse and along the lines of that subject matter. So that's how I originally became interested in it. So a few months before I turned 18, I relocated back to Pittsburgh. I was out of the system. I was about to turn 18, so I was let out of the system, and I moved back with my mother. And, you know, I ended up getting a job, and I worked the job for a while. And then I got into Job Corps, and I ended up, I decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to receive education for a nurse. So that's what I did. I started Job Corps, and I ended up going to community college through Job Corps, and I started taking pre-nursing classes. So I had got it started. And, you know, really I was doing really well. And, you know, just some personal issues had happened to me in 2007, like I mentioned. So, you know, I really started to, you know, slip in my grades and whatnot. And, no, I ended up really just fucking my transcript up because I had started fucking up in college, and you know, I was not able to get into nursing school as a result of that because I fucked my transcript up. So, nursing really was kind of something I always wanted to do. Um, for years. And, I really wanted to get into that specific field. Fast forward, I started dancing, so fast forward years later, um, 2014, I ended up applying to nursing school to be a licensed practical nurse instead of an RN because I was not able to get into the RN schools with my transcript. They're really competitive, but I was not able to do that. So I got into the practical nursing program, and I did complete that. So I completed that training, and my issue is before I graduated. I'm sorry. While I was in school for the practical nursing, I was dancing, and I ended up getting a DUI on my way home from work one night. And basically that really changed everything because with a DUI, you really, there's just you have to go through a lot of shit with the nursing board. The nursing board are the people that, excuse my, I didn't shave my underarms. But anyway, so the nursing board, they are in charge of licenses, nursing licenses. So, they can take your shit away, they can give it to you, they can regulate. They really handle the licensing part of it and a lot of other issues. So, they really put me through a lot of shit because of the DUI. And, basically, to make a long story short, the DUI caused the nursing board to find out about a mental diagnosis that I have, which would be schizophrenia, which would be the mental diagnosis they gave me in 2000. I believe they gave me that diagnosis in 2008 or 9. So, so basically they found out about the diagnosis through the DUI because I did have to have something completed from my doctor. So once they found that out, it was the DUI, the diagnosis, I was literally, just put through so much things to be able to take the test to get the nursing license. Because by this time I had graduated, because I graduated nursing school. If you look on my Facebook pictures and some of my Instagram pictures, I do have a couple pictures up from the graduation, which took place in 2015, February 2015. So, the graduation really doesn't mean anything unless you have the license when it comes to a lot of fields, nursing, a lot of medical fields, and whatnot. So, basically, one of the requirements the nursing board gave me to even be able to take the test, to be able to get the license and all that was to take my medication, the prescribed medication that was prescribed to me. And I had previously talked a little bit about that and a lot of the reasons why I discontinued the medication and whatnot. So I had talked about that. So I really don't want to get too much into that again, but I will, being that this is the healthcare industry in general pertaining to myself, I'm gonna have to get into that a little bit more. But I did explain a lot of why I discontinued the medication on my own through my AMA rights, my against medical advice rights that every patient has, including a mental health patient. So, basically, I really, that was a reason I continued the medication also for so long because, again, I was aware that was one of the requirements that I had to do to even be able to take my test to get my nursing license, and just to be even eligible to take it. You say you don't pay, you pass it or fail it, it's on you. But just to be able to take it, I had to, one of the things I had to do was to I was supposed to continue the medication. Um, so, that kept me on the medication for quite some time, quite longer than I originally wanted to. But you know what? After a while, I just was like, I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Because part of the reason I stayed on it for so long is because I was just like, all that hard work, I just don't want it down the drain. I graduated, I studied, I worked hard to do well in school and to graduate. There was a lot of shit going on while I was in school as well. So, I didn't want all that hard work to go to waste. But I just started to realize, like, I just don't really think that's worth it. I understood where they were coming from, I guess with various concerns, but I just felt like it was not worth it because of the side effects the medication was causing me. I felt like it wasn't worth it to continue the medication. Because even so, at that point, it was not only the side effects, but it was also the fact that nursing, it really was something I wanted to do. I'll talk a lot about that as to why I even wanted to do it. But a lot of the reason I wanted to do nursing, originally anyway, was just because I felt like it was attainable. I felt like that was something like attainable. That was something realistic that I could do. The things I really wanted to do for a career or for a job or whatever, I really at that point felt like I was not going to be able to do those things. So, nursing to me was something attainable, something I could actually achieve, something that was realistic, something realistic. In my opinion, I settled. Because I didn't go for the things that, I was no longer going for the things that made me happy and passionate. It was more so get a job, get a career, just that's it. Don't, get something, you know what I mean? Something like a little more regular than dancing, because the dancing, it's a long story. It had kind of started to dwindle down. I felt like my career in dancing was over at that point, and I needed a new avenue. So, the things I wanted to do, like modeling and, dancing out of town and a lot of other things, I really just felt like I couldn't do those things anymore. Mostly because of my age and because of my body, how my body had changed over the years on the medication. So I'll talk a lot about that. So really, I just wanted to get just a little introduction as to why a lot of the things, really, I really should have just skipped the introduction, to be quite honest, because, it's really hard to generalize this subject matter because the healthcare industry is very, very complex. So really, I'm at 13 minutes right now, so really I'm going to keep going because I was going to do a small introduction and stop the video, but I'm going to stop at an hour and keep going. So that was really my little introduction, but that was more so just a little background on, just how I became interested in that field, because when I was in nursing school, I would often post a lot, and you would think I was really interested in that, the way I would post about it, and the way I would talk about it, and I was excited about it. But again, it was at that time because I felt like that was something attainable. It was the things I wanted to really do. I felt like I were not attainable at that point. So really, that's how I originally got into wanting to pursue the healthcare industry. And I'll just also talk about that because I just think there's a thing going on where people think I just kind of am bitter about the healthcare industry, or I just I'm like taking revenge on the healthcare industry or something like that because I wasn't able to get into RN school, or I wasn't able to get my nursing license, and that's not true. It's not true. It's just a bigger picture. It's really a bigger picture, and it's long overdue. And it's needed. It's time, and it's needed, and it's long overdue, because the things I'm about to start talking about have been going on for quite some time. So it's long overdue. So it's not about being better. I truly, truly, truly do not desire to be a nurse at this point, to be a nurse's assistant at this point. Really, I wouldn't mind working in certain positions in certain fields within the healthcare industry. More honestly, at this point, more on the administration side of it, because I just feel like at this point, I would be better utilized in that area of it, administration. So okay, okay. Whew. So okay. So topic 2. Topic 1 really was just supposed to be the introduction to the healthcare industry. Topic 1. So really, I feel like that was enough of an introduction. So I'm going to move on to topic 2, which would be my personal experiences within this is what I have here. I forgot my tablet. So this is what I have here. I have topic 2, experiences within various medical facilities, with various medical providers, healing abilities, specifically, because again, I have a whole separate time slot developed to supernatural abilities, but I feel like healing abilities, I'm gonna talk about that now with the healthcare industry, because I feel like the healing abilities, that's really relevant in my own personal experiences. So I'm gonna move the healing abilities up. Okay, so this is a juicy topic. My personal experiences. Okay, so my personal experiences within various medical facilities. So, I might as well just get started. I think a lot of people really don't understand or are aware of the magnitude of the things that I've been through with various medical providers and within various medical facilities, and not just that, but in other areas. So I really, part of me is doing this also because I just really want people to really understand, the magnitude, of my life and what I've been through in regards to that. I've been through a lot of things that don't have anything to do with the healthcare industry, but I'm just going to be talking about those things right now. Really, all my life I kind of have different memories of experiences that I feel are a bit questionable now that I'm older and I can kind of look back on certain things. Really, supernatural abilities, I'll just jump to that real quick. Not the healing part of it, but just a lot of supernatural abilities. I just, from a young age, there were a lot of things going on that people were seeing from a young age. All my life there have been different, kind of unexplained things happening, miracles as you can call them, or just, unexplained supernatural abilities. A lot of that is not anything to do with healthcare industry, like I said, but really, let me just get into that because that's what this subject is. Yes, so I do recall, first of all, the first memory I kind of have that is suspicious in my point, in the healthcare industry would be my birth. Okay, my birth. Um, so, um, I was born August 13th, 1985 in West Penn Hospital. So, there was just a lot of questionable things, with my birth. I feel like, you know, you know, again, like I stated, there is a movie called In the Days, and it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Alfre Woodard. And the thing is, when it comes to like myself, my sister Sekhmet, which would be Christine, my mother Isis, and my ancestry of women, it was really something that was aware. People were aware, when some of the births in my family. So, whenever there was a birth, specifically a girl, but not just a girl, but a boy too. Any kind of birth, anytime there was a woman of my direct ancestry that was expecting, it was kind of like a frenzy, you know what I mean? So if you watch that movie, In the Days, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. So, the thing is that once there was they really tracked the bloodline, first of all. They tracked the bloodline, various individuals, not just medical providers, but, people within spiritual positions, clergymen, the different people. They would track the births because there was knowledge of the ancestry. There was knowledge of, a lot of things from a long time ago. So, really, whenever there was a birth, whenever there was a pregnancy within my direct bloodline, it really was a frenzy. Because they would be waiting for the baby to be born, and it was very frantic, because they knew the reason why it was very frantic is because they knew that the Savior would be someone of this bloodline, my direct bloodline. So they did track this bloodline. So they knew that there would be someone that would be the Savior, meaning there was someone that would achieve that, that position. So they would look for that because there were people that wanted me dead from the time I was born. From the time I was born, there were people that wanted me dead, and not just me. Not just me, but like again, my direct ancestry of women. Because again, like I stated, there were many people, not many, but we'll say select. There were select individuals that did that did track the bloodline, and they did. They did track the bloodline, and they did have knowledge that it would be a woman. So, this may be, news to, breaking news to a lot of people, but for some people, they knew this from a long time ago. So it's not something that it was just hidden. So basically they knew it would be a woman. So, it was really a matter of tracking the births, the pregnancies, the everything. So, basically my birth, very questionable, because if you watch that movie, that would be something that's something that happened to a similar, something really that would be my sister in that movie, really. But from birth, they would be waiting for the birth of the baby. So from birth, they would try to sabotage, try to destroy the intended from happening, the Savior from being nurtured, the whole life. They would try to ruin the whole, everything from birth, because they would have It was just something they didn't want to happen. A lot of people didn't want it to happen for various reasons, ethnicity, uh, gender, um, money, just the truth. The truth. People did not want the truth out. They did not want this to come to pass. So that is why the births were tracked, just to track, who was being born and whatnot. So, basically, if you watch that movie, there was something negative done to that child from birth without the mother's knowledge. Something satanic, something evil, something from the start, just to try to sabotage the truth from coming to pass. So, really, I'm just going to get into it, okay? Because I really would like information, if I can do this and somehow find this out, information on hospital staff at West Penn Hospital, August 13th, 1985, because it's relevant, because someone on that hospital staff did something similar to what happened on that movie. So, really, my ESP is zooming in on a nurse, someone that was in a nursing position, that had access to myself, a baby in the hospital, did something privately with some member of a spiritual, someone in a spiritual position. So it's relevant because, whatever was done really helped shape my whole life, and it affected my whole life, as well as my family. So yeah, that from birth, you see, from birth it was, I had many eyes on me from birth. So that would be the first questionable thing in a healthcare facility, my birth. So, you see from the very start. Now, the next memory, really, I can get a little more into that because I really want to confirm a certain detail before I share it, because I do not wish to, again, like I said, I do not wish to divulge any false information. So I am in the process of confirming an individual that I do think was present as a hospital staff worker in the hospital that night. A woman, pretty famous woman who was a nurse, to my knowledge, in 1985. And I feel she does have involvement and or information on something that may have been done to me in the hospital as a child. But again, I'll share that once I can confirm or deny that. But I'm pretty sure, but we do have to ensure correct details. So that is something I'm currently trying to get confirmed before I share that. So for now, I'm just going to move on. The second memory I have, as far as a questionable experience in a hospital facility, would be a surgery that I had. I would say, I really don't know my age. I was young, elementary school age. I would say I may have been 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, around there. I had an eye surgery in Children's Hospital of UPMC. Really, I don't have a lot of information on the procedure that was done, due to the fact that my mother does not remember what the procedure was at this point, and I don't know either. I was young. That's a whole nother issue, because my mother, she really got they really did a number on her. I'm not gonna lie, they did a number on her. She just did not get through a lot of the things as you know as I had, because my mother did receive at some point electric shock therapy, which is meant to erase a patient's memory. A depression is a treatment for depression, and the objective is to erase the memory so that you can hopefully erase the depression, erase the depressive thoughts. And I think it's a bunch of BS, really, because but that was done to her, and so her memory has greatly altered and affected through having such a procedure done. So she does not remember a lot of things, and she does not remember what the surgery was about when I was a child. I did have a surgery on my eye. And now I don't remember which eye it was. I really want to say it was, I don't remember. Really, I don't. I want to say it was my right, but I really can't be sure. I really cannot be sure, but I really think it was my right eye. From the memories I have. Really, the only memory I have of the surgery was I remember going to Children's Hospital, playing in their playing room. They had toys there. And then I remember we had to go there and talk to some doctors like before they did the surgery. I remember that, and we left, and I remember she told me I was going to get surgery, and I was like, I was scared or whatever, but and then I just remember, going back to Children's to have this operating day, surgery day, going back there, and it was kind of the same waiting room with the toys, and then I remember going back into the room to have the surgery, and I just remember bubblegum anesthesia, really. So, I really can't give a lot of information on that surgery because I don't know what it was for. I don't know. My mother doesn't know what it was for. I have not tried to get records from that surgery. Just to be quite honest, I really don't know where I would start. I haven't inquired about the records. They may exist. But I really, at this point, I really haven't really thought about that up until recently. So I have not inquired as to about the records to that surgery. But I would like to know, if anyone has any information, or they know of records I can get that go back that far, or just some more information on the surgery, not only the surgery, but my birth. I would like to know who was present, who was on the staff, at West Penn Hospital, my birth, at the time of my birth, who helped with my mother's prenatal care. I just really would like to talk to various individuals, as well as any individuals that were present during that eye surgery at the age of 6, 7, or 8. So that would be the second significant memory that stands out. In regards to, we're just on the medical, the healthcare industry. So in regards to that would be like the second thing that kind of stands out for me. Really, things don't start to get really, things really don't start to get stand out, outish until I became older. More specifically in 2007. Things really just started to become more like, okay, what the hell is going on? Because really, before 2007, like I stated, there were things, unexplainable things happening on my life, and so, I was already on the radar. I was on the radar from birth, really, but, as things started to happen, and it became apparent that I was not a normal child, or I was not, we'll put normal in parentheses, but in quotations, I'm sorry, but as it became apparent that I was just not a normal child, I was on the radar. I was really on the radar. So, you know, um, people kind of knew of that. They knew there's something, she's not normal. Because like I stated, there were some people who knew from my birth, and then there were others that started to know things as I grew, I'm sorry, and as things started to become apparent that I was just not a normal child. So, I was also very gifted as a child. So, you know, um, that on top of a lot of things, but it wasn't just that. It was unexplainable things happening, supernatural things. So people knew that there was something going on with me from a long time ago. So, okay, so really, 2007, that really began the actual, just in my opinion, the things I kind of can recall better um, with dealing with the healthcare industry, healthcare facilities, and healthcare providers. 2007 really was like where it really, I can have a good memory of, just a lot of things that were going on. So before that, and as a child in my birth, I don't have as many memories of that. So clear memories. So 2007. Okay, so now as I stated, technically, if you want to get technical, in 2007 is when my third eye began. So that's what the technical term that is. It really began in 2007. So that would be that really means that is when I really started to, see a lot of things that were, questionable to me, and, that was also the first time I was hospitalized, and within a mental facility, 2007, by my own doing. I went down there and checked myself in because I was concerned, because I was seeing things, I was hearing things, I was having all kinds of visions and thoughts, dreams, things really picked up in 2007. So what happened in 2007? So basically, I had begun to, mess up on my studies in college. My grades started to slip. Really, what happened the end of 2006 is I was dating someone in 2006. And I really loved this person. It was really the person I started messing with and dating after I broke up with the father of my daughter. So this is like my second boyfriend ever, really, second serious boyfriend. And I really was not aware of his relationship with the mother of his child. So basically, I was caught in a love triangle, and I wasn't expecting that. I really fell for him. I fell in love with him, and one day, he just did not call me anymore. So I really just thought he decided he wanted to, be with the mother of his child again, and not deal with me anymore. And I was young. I was 21 at this point, 21. So, I'm sorry, 21 is when my third eye began, at the age of 21. So, it was a big heartbreak for me. It really was, because it was very unexpected. I had never been through a heartbreak before, because with my daughter's father, I broke up with him. So, I was happy when I broke up with him. I felt free. I felt like, So that breakup was not a heartbreak. But, when it comes to this guy, this was like my first heartbreak technically at the age of 21. So, I really didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to deal with that type of pain, that type of emotion from that, heartbreak. So I began to be distracted from my studies. My grades slipped, and I just really, I just really started to deteriorate. I went into a downward spiral. I stopped going to school. And it got to the point where that's how this started originally, through that heartbreak. And then it spiraled into something I just didn't know what was happening. It spiraled into seeing things. It spiraled into visions and dreams and hearing different voices and different things. I wasn't eating. I stopped eating. I was eating for days. I wasn't sleeping for days. And now this is this really started about a week before New Year's 2007. So for like a few days to a week before New Year's 2007, I was not eating. I wasn't sleeping. I mean, we're talking. I was up for days. I was not eating for days. So that's when I began to have these visions, and I began to see things on the street, and just all kinds of things. Basically, I don't know if I should get into the whole story of how my daughter became involved with child services. I think it's relevant, so I think I should go into that. But really, I'm just gonna talk about the healthcare things first, and then I'll go back to actually what happened with my daughter. Like, that's a different story, but that's involved in that. But basically, not only was I not eating or not sleeping, but I did begin to neglect some of my daily responsibilities. I did, because my daughter was 5 years old at this point. So, if you're not eating and sleeping for days, and you're, starting to see things, and I was confused, and I was scared, and I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't, how well could you take care of your child, a 5-year-old at that point? So, I admit that. I own that. I was neglectful in certain areas, not completely, but, how well could you take care of a child if you're in such a state, because again, this is the first episode, as I call them. So really, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. I was scared. I didn't know what was happening. That's just the difference with the first one, because the other ones after that, like, they were bad, not bad, but they were serious too. But it was like, I kind of knew what was, not knew what was happening, but I was familiar with it. So the first time was really hard because I didn't know what was going on. So you see, as time went on and they happened again over the years, I became more familiar with that feeling and what that's like. So the first time, really hard. So, I ended up having some concerns about the father of my child in regards to my daughter. Now, it was not only visions and dreams and seeing things, but it was also thoughts. It was thoughts that came into my head that weren't there previously. So I had some concerns as to the father of my child and my daughter. So, out of concern and fear, I contacted authorities. I contacted authorities frantically, and I told them I had suspicions of the father of my child possibly touching or engaging in inappropriate behavior with my daughter, who was 5 at the time. And they took it seriously, obviously, as they should. And, she was taken to the hospital, to West Penn Hospital. This is now, 2000, this is last couple of days of 2006 to like right after, to like the first couple of days into 2007. So really, they took her to the hospital. Really when she got there, I was not in a good state because, like I stated, I had not eaten for days at that point. I had not slept for days at that point. I was not looking, as good as I could be looking. I was not looking well, obviously, and you seem frantic, you seem not in your right mind. I was in my first episode. So they were concerned. The medical staff at the hospital were concerned. So they ended up contacting child services from the hospital, and she was taken from the hospital, my daughter, because when they got there, again, like I stated on the previous video, that while I was in these episodes, I had the urge to tell the truth about everything. You know what I mean? Everything. So I did not lie. I could not lie in these episodes. So, when child services got there to the hospital and I talked to them, I told them the truth. I didn't hold anything back. I literally told them the truth. I said, I didn't, I haven't been feeding her well the last couple of days. I said I hadn't slept in the last couple of days. I said she was eating, but she wasn't like, I wasn't on top of it the way I was. She was eating, but it was not how you're, it could have, there was some improvement that could have been made, but I told them all this. I told them, because there was a corner store like a block or two from my house. I told them everything. I said, there's times that I would go to the corner store and leave her in the house and come right back, go to the store real quick and come back. I told them everything, because I just was, I felt like, I couldn't lie about anything. So, these are not things you would normally tell child services. But again, I didn't give a shit. I told them the truth, And I also told them I smoked marijuana, So I told them everything. You know what I mean? I told them I had prostituted myself. Because I had prostituted myself, something I hadn't done in a long time. Like, as far as, like, on the street. Just standing like out on the street, a streetwalker type of thing. I hadn't done that in quite some time, and money was short as well. So before I fell in, like about a month or two before I fell into the episode, I did that because oh wait, hold on. This is gonna. Okay, I am gonna have to charge this device because this battery is gonna be dying soon, losing power soon, so I'm gonna have to finish this up. I'm at 48 seconds, 48 minutes, so this is gonna cut off at an hour. But yes, I told them all of this, because a couple months before this occurred, I had prostituted myself for the first time on the street, because I did need money. I did want to get food. I wanted to get food. I wanted to get some other things I needed. So I did resort to that, something I hadn't done in a long time. So I told them that too. Like I told them, like, this is not something you would just sit there and tell, but again, I told them this. So, due to my interview with them, they took custody of my daughter from the hospital, and I was devastated because her father's also there, and he's pissed at me because of what I told them, and so really they looked at me, child services and the medical staff looked at me like I was a nuts, like I was the crazy one, like the state I was in, and they really embraced the father of my child. They embraced him. You know, he was a real good manipulator. He really is. He manipulated me. You know, he's a real good manipulator. So he got them on his side, and I really looked like the bad one. I looked like the incompetent parent, you know, and that wasn't the case, because I had been taking care of my daughter by myself, really, primarily since she was born. So, you know, that wasn't the case. And that's just the way I got portrayed that day, and it was from that day forth. So it was really devastating. So they took her, and, you know, the things continued. You know, I continued seeing things, visions. And again, I had called a couple people up. Like I said, I had called my sister and told her the truth about something, like I said before. And I had called my aunt as well, of what I talked about before with her daughter. So I called those people up, and I, you know, I said what happened. And so that's just the same as, you know, telling the truth about everything. So they took my daughter in 2007. That was the first time she was in child services. And I was instructed, even when we got to court, because, you know, you go to court a couple days after they take custody, and you have a shelter hearing. That's when family members, other people can come if they're interested in the child staying with them and whatnot. And I was treated very rudely. My family was treated very rudely. But I'll talk more about that. But, you know, at that court hearing, I was instructed to get a urine test, a urine drug test. I did not take the test. Well, I did take the test. But even before I took the test, I told them, I said my urine, I smoked marijuana. There would be marijuana in my urine. I told them that. Like, I'm literally still in, like, truth mode. So I told them that before I even took the test at child services court. So I took the test anyway, and it did come back positive for marijuana, as I told them. And I was also instructed to go get a mental health evaluation. That was one of the things I was instructed to do to be able to get my child back, because they gave me goals of things I needed to do. So I did that. So I went down to Western Psychiatric, which is a inpatient mental hospital. They also have outpatient services. They're through UPMC. In 2007, I went down there for the first time, and I checked myself into the hospital. Not only because of what I was instructed by CYS, but also because I was concerned myself. Because, again, this is the first time I had experienced something like this, so I was concerned myself. So I'm just going to stop right there and then pick up on the next video, because I have to charge this, and I want to start uploading this video. And then as soon as that is done, I'm going to continue recording. So we're still on point 3. This would be point 3, topic 2. So point 3, topic 2, the continuation will be the next video. The continuation of point 3, topic 2. Personal experiences within medical facilities and various medical providers. So I'll stop here for a